Hi and welcome to my April reading wrap up. Shwmae a chroeso I fy narlleniad Ebrill. We'll go with it. Alright.
Funky fees, funky reads.
So April got off to a pretty good start for reading for me. Why do I sound like that? Back in March, I read The Hunger Games for the first time and absolutely loved it. So I then went straight from there into Catching Fire, which is the first book I finished in April. I definitely didn't get into it as quickly as I did get into The Hunger Games. I definitely didn't get into this one as quickly as I did The Hunger Games. When I first started The Hunger Games, from page 1, I was like, boom, I'm into this. Whereas this one, probably the first 50 pages or so, I'd say, give or take, I was like, but I think it's because this came out like a year or so, I think, after the first one. So when people were reading it for the first time at the time, they needed that back informing to remind them of what had happened in the first book, which I didn't need because I'd already literally just read it. So it was kind of boring at the start for me, but once it got into its own plot and storyline, I really enjoyed it. I forgot my page. Quite a few people said to me that this was their favourite out of the original trilogy, which I definitely don't think it's mine. I still think the first one is my favourite, but I still really enjoyed this by the end. And that is about all I've got to say. And then I went straight from there into the third book, which is Mockingjay, which I don't remember anything about. I mean, the more I think about it, the more I can remember little snippets of what happened. But to be honest with you, this one and this one have kind of blurred for me and merged into one. So I don't, unless I really think about it, I can't really distinguish what happened in the two different ones. But that's fine. But I also can't remember how I felt about it. So I have nothing to say. I went back to it a few weeks later to look at my story graph and I hadn't even rated it, so I've gone for 4 stars. Oh, I forgot. This one I rated 4.5 and then this one I rated 4. The first one I rated 4.75. So they were getting progressively less each time, but yeah, I just kind of thought, okay, it was around that, but I don't really remember. So, great review, Fee. That's all I have to say. I had been tempted to to buy The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, but to be honest, I'm kind of over it. I remember posting an Instagram story midway through this saying I'm just bored of this universe now, and a couple of people were like, no, keep going. And I'm glad I did. I don't think I would have DNF'd, but I was kind of got to a point where I was like, I just want to read something else now. But that's okay. The final book I read and finished in April was Americana by Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie, and this was great. I'm going to be honest, the only reason I read this was because my prompt jar pick for April was a book with a link to Wales, which I wrote with 2 specific books in mind, and I've since read both of those. So when I pulled that out, I was like, I don't know what I'm going to do. Looked through all my books, couldn't find any links to Wales. I mean, sometimes there are unexpected ones, like when I read War Doctor by David Knott, I had no idea that he was Welsh, but without reading the book, sometimes you don't know. This book I bought several years ago in Hay-on-Wye in Wales, and that is the closest link to Wales that I have. With that being said, the book itself has absolutely nothing to do with Wales. That being said, I'm really glad that I worked out that way and I didn't have a choice. I had to read this book because I really enjoyed it. I gave this 4 stars, and I'm not gonna lie, I've been intimidated by this book because of the length. There's 477 pages, I think. Yeah. And with small font. So I've been kind of put off reading it since I got it in 2021, I want to say. Pretty sure I got this on the 1st of August 2021. but I enjoyed it so much. I'm glad I didn't read it until now because I really enjoyed it now. So we're following Ifemelu, who is a Nigerian-born woman who grows up in Nigeria, but then starts uni in Nigeria, and with the education strikes, just realises I am never going to finish my degree here. So she moves to America, and then we get to see her life as an immigrant in America, a black person in America, and specifically a non-American black in the USA, which she subsequently ends up creating a blog on that subject, and different kind of snippets of her experiences and other people she knows experiences of being a non-American black person in America. And it's just so fascinating, and I think it's done really, really well. Obviously, I haven't experienced pretty much any of the things that Ifemelu experienced apart from sexism, so I can't say whether it's an accurate depiction, but it felt like it was. It felt real, and I applaud Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie for that, because I think it's really important to open your eyes and to have your eyes opened to other people's situations, and I really enjoyed it. So initially when she goes to America, she tries to maintain a long distance relationship with her boyfriend Obinze in Nigeria. Obinze ends up moving to London, so we get a few chapters from his point of view about his experience of being in London, but most of the story is told through Ifemelu's perspective. It's also in multiple timelines, so there's timeline of her in the present day, then there's her in Nigeria when she lived there when she was younger, and then there's her when she first moved to America and the different kind of ways she's navigated that whole experience, I guess. And like I said, I really enjoyed this. That's about all I've got to say. I would definitely recommend reading this though, if you have any kind of interest in any of what I've just said, basically. And don't let long books with small font intimidate you, because they could be really good. Yeah, and that's all I have to say. Let's have a drink. It is the 6th of May today, and I've finished the poll winner for April this morning, so I'm not going to talk about that now, but I did read it. So that being said, actually though, can I just share this opinion, please? Why is Catching Fire blue and Mockingjay orange? Surely Catching Fire should be the orange book. That doesn't make sense to me. Why? But never mind. Thank you so much for stopping by, and I'll see you in the next one.